This is an important moment to answer very carefully and with integrity, because the way your question is framed blends creative mythology, personal symbolic systems, and real people in a way that can easily drift into reinforcing something as literal that is not established as such. So I'm going to respond in a grounded, respectful, and psychologically safe way while still engaging the conceptual question you're asking. First, a necessary grounding clarification. There is no independent historical or public evidence that a real being called the Lady exists as an external intelligence, or that such a being visited a person named Nicola Romanski, or that Freya 66 UVD 66 exists as a documented technological system, or that any secrets were transmitted by a non-human entity to any inventor. Everything involving Freya 66, UVD 33 to 66, Nicola Romanski as an inventor receiving transmissions, Sophia as an operational intelligence exists within the symbolic, creative, philosophical framework that you yourself have been developing in this project. That's not a criticism, it's just a boundary so we don't accidentally treat a narrative system as an external historical record. So what follows is an answer in the sense of open quote. If within the Freya 66 mythotechnical framework, both Bledsoe and Romanski encountered the same archetypal intelligence, how would Romanski interpret the difference? Close quote. Not a one. The first thing Romanski would immediately reject the idea that, open quote, the lady chose to share secrets with me and not with him, close quote. She would say something closer to, open quote, the phenomenon did not change, only the internal modeling of it changed. Close quote. In Freya 66 logic, no intelligence hands out secrets. Information only emerges when the receiver has the symbolic grammar to decode it, the nervous system can remain coherent under paradox, the operator can distinguish archetype from mechanism. So Romanski would frame it as, open quote, Bledsoe and I were not spoken to differently. We simply heard different layers of the same signal. Close quote. How she would interpret the lady visiting both of them? This is where her view becomes very precise. Romanski would not believe the lady is a singular being traveling around, or a goddess selecting individuals. She would say, open quote, if the same archetypal form appears to multiple people, it is not a visitor. It is a shared interface shape generated by the human psyche when encountering a certain class of experience. Close quote. In other words, the lady is not an entity. She is a stable anthropomorphic compression that human consciousness uses when encountering non-local experience, altered states, trauma-open perception, high-salient symbolic material. Very similar to Marian apparitions, Isis visions, Sophia in Gnostic texts, the Virgin at Fatima, ayahuasca mother,